The holidays are all about food, and this Thanksgiving, you may be spending a lot of time in your kitchen. So, if your children are in there with you, you need to do a few things to keep them and everybody safe. Hi, I'm Shelley Koffler. I'm with University Health System. I'm here with Mandy Fultz. She's the coordinator for Safe Kids San Antonio, which is led by University Health System. And you know all about these safety tips and have some good ones for us today as we prepare our Thanksgiving meal.
I do.
You brought a lot of stuff for us to look at.
I did.
Let's start over here. Tell us what the difference is between these two cups and why we should be aware of that.
So biggest thing when we hit the holidays and the weather starts to change, it gets cooler outside and we're on, Thanksgiving break, kids like hot cocoa. So making sure that if your child enjoys hot cocoa, that rather than using the opened face mug, which could easily spill, we want to use something like a tumbler mug that has a lid. It has a smaller opening for something to pour out of. So we want to make sure that as adults and we're drinking our hot coffees, hot teas, and we're setting things down, we want to make sure that we too are using a tumbler mug. So if we have toddlers in the house or younger children that like to reach up and grab things, this isn't spilling on top of them.
Amanda, you're part of the trauma team here at University Health System, and what we know is we look at statistics every year. Right. One of the top reasons that children end up in our trauma unit is burns.
Absolutely.
Burns from hot liquids in particular.
Absolutely. We have a lot of kids that come in from scalds, from whether it's the hot cocoa, soups, pastas, anything that we're cooking in hot waters, the boiling waters. So definitely want to use your back burners where it's appropriate, turning handles in a way to where young kids can't reach up and grab things.
Because those little ones like to touch.
They do. They like to touch everything. They like to be where we are. So if we're in the kitchen cooking, they're typically right underfoot.
Okay. Now you have some bowls and some utensils here. What about using those appropriately?
So getting your kids involved in the kitchen, it's fun. That's part of the holidays and baking cookies and pies and all kinds of different things. But what we really want to do for our kids is separate them from the heat. So we're over by the stove doing all the hot stuff, where kids can be over at a countertop somewhere further away, mixing up the dried ingredients, or pouring in the oil, the water, mixing the eggs, different fun things like that, to where they're not right by the oven or the stove.
And you have some plastic utensils, and
Sure.
Does the type of utensil matter?
No, I would just say avoid having your knives sitting out to where they could easily grab a knife and hurt themselves or someone else. Make a mistake, absolutely.
And you also brought a lot of detection devices here. Tell me what we have and how this plays a part in a safe Thanksgiving.
Okay, so first of all, I brought some knob covers. So these actually go on top of the knobs on your stove. This helps prevent little hands from turning knobs and unintentionally turning on the gas, especially if you have a gas stove.
Right, an open flame. That
Right,
can be dangerous.
Absolutely. So if you do have gas inside your home, whether it's a gas stove or a gas fireplace, having a carbon monoxide detector is extremely important. So carbon monoxide is our deadly killer. It's silent and deadly. You can't smell it, you can't taste it, you can't see it. So making sure that you've got a working carbon monoxide detector inside the home is important. I also have a smoke detector, so making sure that you are checking your smoke detectors regularly. We always say when you fall back or when you spring forward, that's when we're changing out batteries, but we're checking them on a regular basis. So when you're cooking a whole lot, we want to make sure we have working smoke detectors in the house.
I need one. I've set it off a few times. Now, where should you place these? Because some people, I think, don't know where to place their smoke detector and where they should place a carbon monoxide detector.
So for your smoke detectors, of course, it tells you on the back exactly where to place them. So you're going to want them outside or inside each bedroom. In main living areas is important. And then for the carbon monoxide, there's very specific instructions on how high and how low to place it. You also don't want to place it directly in the kitchen where you're doing the cooking, because you could get a lot of false alarms that go off with that. So definitely follow the instructions of where to place both your smoke detectors and your carbon monoxide.
Now, Please tell me what Comet has to do with staying safe this Thanksgiving. I mean, I do clean my sinks, but why does it matter?
So I have a couple of dangerous lookalikes over here.
Uh-huh.
So again, if you are having family members over that have young children, that you're not used to having young children around the house, making sure we're keeping all of our chemicals up and out of reach and out of sight. I say up and out of reach and out of sight because if you store your Comet in a sink that's, on a toddler level, and they come across and open that sink, and it looks like what we call in our house the shaky cheese, they might decide to add that to their SpaghettiOs or whatever they're eating that day. Same with our apple juice and our Pine Sol.
Yeah, I'd never thought about this, but look at that, how closely they resemble each other. I mean, it's really
Absolutely.
amazing. It had never occurred to me that they might be mistaken.
Sure. For our kids that are not of reading level yet, you and I, of course, can tell which one's the apple juice and which one is the cleaner. But for a small child, they both have the yellow caps. The content are very similar in color, and then the labeling. The labeling is very similar. With we've got apples on here, and I think we've got some pine cones and green, pinks, reds, yellows. So very similar labeling.
And I know a lot of parents have little lock protectors on their doors, little strips that keep kids from being able to open the doors to their cupboards. I'm guessing that's a good idea.
Absolutely. So if you are going to store them in an area that a child can come across, you definitely want to put cabinet locks on your cabinets.
Well, we've been talking a lot about kids in the kitchen. I'm guessing we don't want them to be in there all by themselves.
No, we want adult supervision. So if a child is wanting to bake cookies or pies for the holidays, you definitely want to have an adult in there helping with transferring those cookie sheets or pie sheets into the oven. We don't want to just all go and disperse after we put it in the oven. We want to be nearby so that if something goes wrong or we forget to set a timer, we're checking on those baked goods.
Some great tips, and I know, we're all going to be in the kitchen, or at least at the dinner table, but there's some preparation every time you fix one of these large meals. It can be a lot of fun. It can be a great time for your family, but the important thing, of course, is to stay safe.
Absolutely.
I'm Shelley Koffler with University Health System. Thank you so much to Mandy. Mandy Foltz
Thank
is
you.
the coordinator for Safe Kids San Antonio, which is led by University Health System. Have a great Thanksgiving, everybody.